Hi guys, I am Isa. Today we're going to learn how to use loops in Rust. So anyways, I'm going to use Atom as my code editor. So anyways, I'm going to create a new cargo project. I'm going to write cargo new Rust loops. So I'm going to go to the main.rs file. So I'm just cd into Rust loops, and then I'm gonna say cargo runs. So now it just runs the file. So anyways, I'm going to learn about for loops. So I want to say for I in 1.10, which means for every I in 1 to 10. Print ln. So I'm going to make it to print I. So now if I run it, it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you might have noticed by now that you could use the ordinary loops to do this, but just using for loops instead. So anyways, so if I say like for I in 1 to 100, it's gonna print out 1 to 99. So if I want it to be so that if there's no line between each new numbers, then I'm going to use print, because print ln means print line. So just an ordinary print is going to print them without any new lines created. If you want there to be a new line with print, then write \n. So now we have now they have new lines. So let's not do that instead. So now we have this. Number thing going from 1 to 99. So anyways, let me just create a vector. A vector is just like a list of items. So I'm going to say let's vec1 or something is equal to vec. So I'm going to say, for example, 5, 7, 8, 9. So vec. Okay, there. Now the vec is working. So I'm going to say for I in vec1 instead of saying for I in 1 to 10. So now that's 5, 7, 8, 9. So let me just change this back to print ln. Oops. So okay, so let me just change this back to print ln, and let me go back to the terminal and run. So now it says 5, 7, 8, and 9. So we can also replace this with strings, for example. So like, if I say and I'm gonna replace that vec1, the vec1 variable name was names. So instead of for I in names, I'm gonna say for name in name. So it's gonna print out the name, and so now it prints out all of the names in the names vector. So anyways, the next thing is while loops. So I'm gonna say while. So it's just like if statements. So I could say like while I is less than I is less than 50, and print ln I. So it's gonna print out I, but the I doesn't even exist. So let's just, add an I variable. I'm going to say let's I equal to, let's say, 0. So then we just have to, use a string literal to format just this println. So, whereas now I keep on saying 0 because the I doesn't increase. So I have to let the I increase. So I plus equals 1. So now it says that because the variable is not mutable. So I'm going to say let's mute I instead of just let I. So now it says from 0 all the way up to 49. So, let me just put it in the beginning of the while loop. So now it says from 1 to 50 instead of 0 to 49. So anyways, that's how to use while loops. So anyways, so if I write, for example, I plus equals 2, so now it has the same thing, but it's halved. The same thing if we do I plus equals 3. So yeah. The next thing we want to learn about are arrays. So I'm going to go back to my text editor and I'm just gonna, say list. And I'm just gonna make a list. I'm gonna say let L1 equal to, I have to use these square brackets. I'm gonna say like 5, 9, 7, 3, 6. I'm just gonna, write a couple of numbers. Okay, so now I have all these numbers. So yeah, you can see that it doesn't show anything. So I'm going to say print ln L1. So I'm going to run it again, and it shows an error. So it can't display lists. So let's say L1 0. It shows the first item of L1. So if I try like L1 2, it shows the third item. Those starts from 0 instead of 1. So anyways, you can also add it to as for loops like this. So for L in L1, print ln L. So it's gonna print out the L. So now it says 493, 436, and all the other of the numbers that are inside of the loops. So anyways, that's the end of today's tutorial. If you enjoyed, then leave a like and subscribe. So bye. Hi guys, I am Isa, and today we're going to learn how to use structs. So so first let me just tell you something. If you're a Windows user and you compile your Rust code, and you have to go to the file manager and then run it, but then it just closes. The reason why is because there's nothing to prevent it from closing. When the program has finished, the program stops. So I'm just gonna add an empty loop to fix that. You could just use like a user input, but we're gonna dive into that later. Okay, so now it does that. It says struct. So anyways, to make a struct, you have to write struct. But before you can know how to use structs, you need to master data types. You know, like the ones that we include in functions. So I'm just gonna say like function fn func1. So inside of this func1 function, I'm going to say we'll have this func1 function. I'm going to give it an argument. I'm going to say like num, like so. So we're going to learn about the data types of numbers. So the first one is U8. So U8 is a integer. It's an 8-bit integer, which means that it can only fit up to 255. So let me just print out the number. I'm gonna say func1. I'm just gonna execute func1. So I'm gonna compile my Rust code again. Oh, so yeah, as usual, we need a string tool to format into this. So I'm going to add that. So here it says that you have to provide the argument. So I'm just going to provide the argument. I'm just going to provide the argument here. So it's going to say like 50. So now let us see that it compiles correctly. So if I run it, it's gonna just print out the number. But if I write like 256, because the maximum that these things could hold. This has the little 256 does not fit into type U8, which means it's 255. So we're gonna use U16. U16's limit is like somewhere around 63,000. So anyways, now let's actually learn how to use structs. So I'm just gonna, you could use structs by writing struct. So it's gonna be struct, name of the struct. Struct color. I'm gonna name it color. So we have to write the, like arguments of the struct. So we're going to be like red U8, blue, green U8, and blue U8. So now I have this struct thingy. So I'm gonna say let my color is equal to color. We'll have to provide out all the arguments. So I'm gonna say like 255, 90, 160. So now let's just compile our Rust code. Now it says expected function and stuff. So it says that it's expected function. So I'm going to just like add a semicolon. So apparently you just have to replace these brackets. So I'm gonna say like 255, 80, 150. So I'm gonna end it on with a semicolon and save. So now if I compile my Rust code, now it shows that, and it shows all those errors. because we have to specify which arguments we're passing. So we're going to say red 255, green 80, and blue 150. So now if we compile our Rust code once again, it's just show some errors. So just show some irritation turn it's like this. So I'm going to recompile the code. So now it shows all of those things because the color struct is never being used. So I know we have to actually use it because it doesn't have a use then. I'm going to put my color dot red. And so again, we need to leave the string literal. So now let me compile the code. Now just show some warnings that green and blue are never used. Okay, so just take note that I've switched to cargo. But I mean, if you're still using Rust, see, everything will still be the same. Now it prints out 255. Also, since we're using cargo now, we don't need this. If you're using cargo, you don't need this loop. So I'm just gonna, print red, blue, green. I'm gonna just say Oklahoma. My color dot's red. My color dot's blue. And my color dot's green. So if I compile my code again, I mean, it does take some time to build. It says red 255, blue 150, and green 80. So anyways, that's the end of today's tutorial. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe. So bye.